Hey guys, it's Dana, and welcome to episode 2 of the Blogging Mommy Meetup podcast. I am here with Crystal from Brought to You by Mom, and we're going to be talking editorial calendars today, right, Crystal?
Yes, we are.
Exciting stuff. And we are going to start with a question. We're just going to get right into it. It's a question from Tanya in the Blogging Mommy Meetup community. And Tanya is a Periscope friend of mine. We used to Periscope every single week together with YouTube Mommy Meetup. So Tanya asks, my questions are paper planning or digital planning. Is one better than the other? Digital planning options, which are good, and why? So let's just start with that first question, which is basically the paper planning versus digital planning, which I think is a really great place to start. So thank you, Tanya, for your question. And so, Crystal, let's talk about your editorial calendar. Is it digital or paper?
Oh boy, that's a good question because it's a little bit, I know, Dana, we've talked about this before in a sense of that I know you're very attached to your phone and I am increasingly getting better at that. I kind of do, I waver on both. I come from that generation that's a little bit of pencil and paper and also very much technology and digital. So the plus side of digital that I like is the fact that I can keep things consistent. I can pull it up on my laptop. I can pull it up on my phone. I can pull it up pretty much wherever I'm at. So let's say I drop off my daughter at preschool. I go to Starbucks to write a post. I can look it up on my phone. So that's why I recommend digital. And you can use that with like Google Docs. You can use that with Note. If you're a window person anyways. I'm sure Mac has its different, Apple has its different things to it. I'm not really familiar with it. I'm sure you can talk about it, Dana. But it's good to have those things, those apps in your phone or on your laptop and sync them together, because then wherever you are, you can put in your editorial calendar, change it, whatever you need to do. Now, for planning purposes, in a sense of like writing stuff down, I do like to use paper a lot of times. I do have a paper calendar that I keep on my desk just because I don't know. I'm one of those people I have to kind of use a pen to paper to remember things sometimes. So it's more of like a thinking process. It's more of just a habit in a sense of things. But I do sway more on the digital side of things just because you can take it anywhere with you. I know you can bring a planner with you, but let's face it, I'm not really the type of woman that likes to have a huge planner with me 24/7. So it kind of depends on your preference. How about you, Dana?
Yeah, I mean, you give me way more credit than I deserve for the electronic version. I don't have anything all synced up. I definitely don't. But I do love my phone. I really do love it. So I have stuff on my phone. I put stuff in notes, and that's what I've been doing as far as for YouTube for a long time. Like any ideas, I just put it in the basic notes in my phone. And I've done the paper route. I actually have a at a glance calendar, and it's on my desk, and on that at a glance it's a month at a time, and basically I scribble on that just like basic deadlines that I have if I have a collaboration that I'm working on, or if I have an idea that I want to get that out there timely for a holiday or whatever, then I put that on there. And then I was like thinking a lot about editorial calendars, and let me just start out by saying I really wanted to do this because I was like, I need to get my act together when it comes to editorial calendars, and I really don't have a great system. That's why I really wanted to talk about this. So like I said, I've been using the notes on my iPhone because I am obsessed with my phone, and I do have it with me all the time. I do have it right next to my head when I'm sleeping. It's very, I think this is normal though for most people at this point, but I always have my phone with me. And so I like to have it there because with the paper planner, which I've also tried, I got a paper planner together and I was writing, I had a whole section for my blog and I was writing on there ideas, deadlines, but like you just said, like you don't always have the paper with you, the your planner or your book, and if you're carrying that around it can get really heavy. And so I didn't always have that with me, and I felt like that was cumbersome too, because like I don't know, wherever I was, or if I was standing in a bathroom or something, if you have an idea, like I like to have my phone because I can always put something in it at any time, anywhere. And so the paper copy wasn't working. And then I actually started an Excel, because you know how I'm obsessed with Excel, Crystal. I had to start an Excel editorial calendar. And so I looked it up, like this tutorial, like how to set it up. And it was someone who ran a magazine or something, and they were showing how they did like their tutorial, their calendar. And so I followed this whole thing and like set up in Excel, I had made a tab for every month, and then I have the days of the week listed out, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for all of the weeks, like week 1, week 2, week 3. And then in my Excel spreadsheet, I put in there, what the idea was, what the deadline was, and then what state it is in, like whether or not I've written it or it's being written, or, the post is being drafted, or whether, it's been scheduled. So like I kind of have like, a column there for that. And so basically I'm using all of these different editorial calendar methods, and I'm trying to find one that works for me because I'm not really following any of them really well. And so it's kind of like very disorganized, and I kind of flip from one kind of method to the next. And that at a glance monthly calendar for me is like, that's basically, I'd say, what I'm most using, because it's just very quick and I just kind of write on there what I want to do. But I want to be, obviously I'm not posting a lot on my blog. I have my, my YouTube channel too. But I'm trying to sync up my YouTube channel and my blog, and also when I'm collaborating for YouTube, and I would like to do more collaborations for my blog, but basically it's just like all over the place. I'm trying to figure out the best method, but I think that electronic is definitely, I think that would be my preference, what I would think would be the best, just because it's, I don't know, but I think having something on your phone, like you said, you can sync up your phone, but I'm not even really sure how to do that, because I hate Google Docs. Like I can't stand Google Docs. And I know a lot of bloggers love Google Docs, and every time I'm in a blog group, or if I'm working with bloggers on a YouTube collab, they want you to go into Google Docs to sign up, right, Crystal? Like that's every time I see that. And like you even said to me, like with some of the YouTube Mommy Meetup collabs, like why don't you use Google Docs? And I was like, because I can't stand it, and YouTubers don't get it. Nobody's going to be able to get into this file and update it on Google Docs, even though there's obviously apps for that and everything. But every time I try it, like I'm savvy, I think, but when I use it on my phone, I just don't like it. I don't know. I have trouble with it. It seems like it doesn't flow well or something. I feel like I'm missing something with Google Docs, since everybody else seems to really love them. I was just going to say, it's definitely something that I've acquired, and it's hard when you're somebody who's constantly on mobile too. And I know, Dana, you're a lot on mobile, and I happen to be a lot on laptop and desktop, because that's where I work, and I work from home, and so it's like, it's easy for me to do that. Plus, if I do work outside of the home, like I said, I'm usually set up in Starbucks somewhere for a couple hours while my daughter's in school. And so it's easy for me to bring up my laptop and that kind of thing. And you're right, they have apps, but anymore, and I'm sure we'll have to get you hooked up on this, data, but they have a lot of syncing processes for like Excel and things like that now too, where you can actually bring your Excel spreadsheet with you on your phone. So we'll have to get you hooked up on that one. So what is your, like, maybe I kind of missed this. So what is your calendar then? Like your Bible calendar? What form is that?
I would have to say it is probably, I know you're going to hate me for saying this, but probably Google Docs.
No,
it really is. I have my Erin Condren, and I love that, and I do take it with me. But Google Docs definitely is. And I also use a lot. I'm trying to migrate myself, and it's getting better and easier. But there is a plugin it's an actual website actually, and it's for WordPress. So if you're on WordPress, it's called CoSchedule, and it basically has a calendar plugin in your actual WordPress dashboard. And so you can put in drafts, you can type in like, I want to talk about this on this day, and kind of when you come up with an idea and put it on Wednesday or whatever, and you can, again, you have the option of if this is scheduled, is it drafted, is there anything you need to do? You can even have team members. So let's say you have 2 people writing on your blog, you can assign someone to work on photography, assign someone to work on the actual post. And then after that, you can actually go in, and there is a paid version of it. And I think you have to have the paid version of this, but it's only like, it's like maybe $10 a month. And it's just one of those things I put to business expenses. And you can schedule up to like 4 times. Like you can schedule the post that day. You can schedule it next week, the following month, whatever you want to do, custom time. And that way you don't even have to, like, once you've published the post, you don't even have to think about it. Like it's already being sent out to Twitter. You can send it to Google. You can send it to LinkedIn. You can send it to Facebook, whatever, even Pinterest. So it's pretty much like editorial calendar and social media management all in one, which is kind of cool. So I'm trying to migrate in that direction. I do use Google Docs a lot, similar to what your Excel spreadsheet is, where I have the category that I'm writing about. So I can kind of get an idea too of, okay, I want to make sure I'm not just writing about Disney all month. So I'll have like the different colors that you can put the boxes in. So like red will be for recipes, blue will be for homesteading, yellow will be for Disney, whatever. And then again, kind of the same thing. You have your months, you have your days, you have what the topic is, what the title might be, and is it drafted, is it scheduled? Notes, do I have to do any photography for it? Is it sponsored? Is it not? You know, those kind of things. So I'm right there with you. It's just on the digital side of Excel with Google Docs.
Okay, so Google Docs, and I've heard a lot about CoSchedule. Like every single podcast I listen to about business, or they're always talking about it, but I know it's a fee. They're, affiliates for it a lot of times, and there is a monthly fee to have it, so I haven't gotten it yet, but I know that a lot of what I've heard about it is that it's fantastic for scheduling onto Twitter, a lot of your old posts too, to kind of help revitalize them and keep them alive. But I didn't realize it was actually really also a editorial calendar that you can sort of use it for that. So that's good. That's good to know that they kind of help, I guess, for you to create that for you on there. But Google Docs, I think, is kind of just like Excel. You're using the Excel form of it, right? So then do you do like your rows of each day of the week, or do you have columns, or can you verbalize how you format it? Are you opening it up so
Yes, I am.
you can look at it, and because that's how mine is. So, but my Excel spreadsheet that I have, like I said, I have a different tab for every month, and then I do like at the top I have the rows like week 1, and then it'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I don't do the weekends because I don't post on the weekends, so I just leave. But you could put those in there too, and then week 2 underneath. But it's all like going down the rows is what you have for the days, and then I build out to the right about what I'm doing. So then I think that way also, as I'm just starting this, but in the future, what my idea is that, a year from now, I can go back and look at, say November or October and see what I was working on at that time. As, maybe there was a piece of content that was really successful that I kind of want to, build upon or do like again, something similar, something that did really well from that month. And it helps with like trending topics to remind myself of what it is I want to be working on, like, Halloween or Christmas, or every single year I do the kids where they say what their Christmas list is. And I just love doing that to film them, and then also like do some posts about Christmas and stuff. So I think that's good with the tabs. That's why I like doing the tabs of the month every month. But how is yours structured?
It's very similar. It is the tabs. And then, yes, it's just basically you have the day, which I actually put in like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't know. It's just a visual thing. And then the date. And then I leave my weekends in, but I gray them out because I'm the same way. I don't like to post on the weekends if I can avoid it. And I actually put in like the holidays too. So like Easter, Christmas, so I can kind of get a snapshot of what's coming up. Because again, like you said, the trends and things like that, knowing what I really need to be focusing on. And then, basically.
Let me interrupt you. Where do you put the holidays? As a row, or that day, like say December 25th, you just write Christmas, or do you have a separate section for Christmas?
I just write in Christmas. I mean, it's one of those things where I am eventually probably going to write over it, but it's just kind of a visual thing that I can look ahead, because I try to, and I'm not good at this. I need to take and heed my own advice, but I really try hard to focus on getting things in before. So like right now I'm scheduling my old Christmas posts on Pinterest and Twitter, and because it's the trend right now. Everybody's looking at Christmas recipes, Christmas gift ideas, and I'm trying to remember that, and it's hard, but it's just as for a snapshot look. So yeah, I just put the holiday actually in the date, and then from there, what I'll do is, like I was saying earlier, I'll take the different colors that I have. Like I'm kind of looking. I'm looking back on one of my older calendars here. I had red for recipes, purple for like DIY, green for organize. So I'll put like, this was on, let's see, Monday, March 23rd, I had my Rachel Ray copycat muffins that I made. So I wrote in Rachel Ray muffins there next to my date under blog posts. And then I highlighted it red because then I would know it's a recipe. And it's just kind of a visual thing. So when I'm looking at my entire calendar, I don't, I see red, blue, orange, purple, green, and then green, so I'm not like, okay, I've done 5 organizing posts because they're all green, highlighted green this month. Let's move on, Crystal. Let's try something else, kind of thing. So it's just a visual snapshot. And from there, same thing. Out from left to right, have I drafted it? Have I scheduled it? Do I have any other things to do with it? Have I shared it? I'll add that there too, just to remind myself, hey, it's great you wrote an awesome post, but you might want to share it too, Crystal. So yeah, that's basically it.
What happens if you put something in there that you want to be working on for a particular week and then it doesn't get done? Do you move it to the next week, or how do you indicate that you're moving it along, or, do you just leave it there? What do you do then?
Basically, I'll bump. I mean, because a lot of times I'll have sponsor posts that'll come in, and I'll have planned out my entire month, and then Foster Farms comes in and wants a recipe from me 2 weeks later on the same day that I had organizing my shoe closet, planned. So what I'll do is I'll just bump it. I probably would be smart to put another category in there. That's kind of where the paper thing comes in again, where I'm writing like, okay, try to reschedule this post out for such and such a date kind of thing. I probably could put in a different column that has posts to be rescheduled kind of thing, or ideas. And it's kind of, again, that's where I kind of go back to the paper, because I will actually go into my little idea box that I have, and I'll write that post idea back down into that idea box so I don't forget it, because I tend to do that. Like, if I don't write down an idea in the 30 seconds that I have it, forget it, something else will come up 10 minutes later. So I'll either try to find a place for it in between there. And sometimes I will post 2 times a day. Let's say I've already been working on the post and I already have it pretty much set up, and there's a sponsor post that needs to go up by midnight that night. I might put in the organized shoe closet at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I'll put the Foster Farms in later at 2 p.m. And so that way it's, it's focused, it's far enough away from the other post, it has its own platform, and it's the last post to go in. So that way it has more time to, be shared and seen and that kind of thing too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with posting a couple times a day. I don't recommend like going crazy, but I've known bloggers to they have 2 sponsored posts and 3 posts they've already done because they are rock stars and do these posts months ahead of schedule. Good for them. And they'll post something up 5 times in a day, kind of thing. So, because people don't really, I don't know, they don't pay attention to feeds as much anymore for like RSS feeds and that kind of thing. So it doesn't clog up their email.
You mean posting the same exact blog post on their social media multiple times a day, right? At first I thought you meant new blog posts, 5 of them, 5 new ones. Okay, you mean 5 new blog posts in a day. Wow, that is a lot. I'm trying.
I know, it's hard to explain how people do it, and they do it. I've seen it, and God bless them. Like I said, they are rock stars. Good for them. But because they'll just end up with, they'll end up with 3 different posts that come at them at once, and they're like, well, don't know what else to do. We'll put them up all on the same day. And I mean, they try to schedule them out at least a few hours prior or, behind one another. But at the same time, they do. But for myself personally, I know that was like a kind of a little bit of a ramble. I'm trying to cover everybody. It's so hard with some of these subjects because there's so many different ways of doing it. But I just bump the post. I bump it to wherever it sees fit. Unless it's a holiday post, then I got to figure out somewhere to work it in there. So.
Okay. Do most people do the digital, I guess, Google Docs? Do you know in your experience meeting a lot of bloggers at conferences, what do most people use for their editorial calendar?
I would say Google Docs is definitely a top one. Like we talked about, it's just a beloved things within bloggers. I don't know why people they are starting to get more into using CoSchedule. CoSchedule, like you said, I hear a lot about CoSchedule. So that's a big one that a lot of people use. And, the top 3rd choice is definitely paper. People are still old school with it. They still like it. And they go with it and it works for them kind of thing. So, but definitely I think Google Docs is the top one that I hear about, if not Excel, which is, the very similar version to Google Docs as well. I mean, I think Google Docs is actually factioned out of Excel. And so that's kind of where everybody's at.
Okay. And then I think we pretty much answered Tanya's question. She's also had said, what is better? Is one better than the other? And then digital planning options. And like we said, CoSchedule, and then is really popular right now. And then also Google Docs, like you said, that's a good option. And and then moving on, right? Okay. Right. So then the next question is from Becca, and Becca, her blog is I just said blog twice because she wrote blog on here. Her blog is Love Our Crazy Life. So Becca from Love Our Crazy Life asked, how far in advance do you personally like to have planned out? And how far in advance do you do your posts? Okay, so how far in advance do you like to plan out your editorial calendar?
Are we going like hypothetically, or are we going
well, how far? Well, let's just talk about if you in your dream world, how far in advance, and then what you really do.
I like that. In my dream world, I would be advanced out probably at least 2 to 3 months in advance, just because of the fact that you just never know what's going to go down. Realistically, I usually get about a month, and it's hard too because, like I said, if you get sponsored posts in, you got to figure out where to put those babies, and then you're all over the place. So I personally don't like to schedule out too far. Yes, thinking in retrospect, it would be awesome to have planned out 2-3 months. So if you an emergency happens or whatever, or you can be thinking ahead to Christmas and all this other stuff. But yeah, I would definitely say about a month in advance. And you have to, as a blogger, because like we were talking about earlier with trends, you really have to be on top of that, because if you're not, you're going to lose that momentum and then probably have to wait a whole nother year for that post to really see any social media traffic or anything like that. Because I highly recommend, if you just go out and Google the Ahology, it's AHALOGY editorial calendar. This is an actual website that is very much, they work with Pinterest, they work with third parties, they work with branding and sponsorships and those kind of things. I've actually worked with them on a few sponsored posts, and they have an editorial calendar out there that actually gives you when things are about to peak. And I know you can do this on Google as well, with the keywords and some of their different trending topics and things that they have. But I like their editorial calendar because it gives you a quick snapshot of when things like Easter, for example, it starts to peak mid-February and it goes all the way through till April. And it'll basically also kind of give you a good idea of when things start to fade out too. So you can look at that and you can plan in February, okay, I'm going to need to be doing Easter posts, and you do those kind of things. And then in March, Easter's still kind of going. So, okay, plan a few more Easter posts. And in April, it's still kind of going through mid. So plan 1 or 2 Easter posts in April kind of thing. So, and with blogging and pretty much anything, I think on social media, you always have to be one step ahead of yourself with what the trends are going on. What was coming up, is Super Bowl coming up, is Labor Day coming up, back to school, and plan out your posts accordingly. So it's good to be at least, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks, if not a month ahead of schedule and scheduling out.
Yeah, I know when you shared that with me for the first time, I thought that was really helpful. How do you say it?
It's ahology. Everybody pronounces it differently.
Okay. Well, I was like, oh, wow. It was so great because, to see on there, like, weddings, and all the different things, some things on there I hadn't thought of, but not that I'm getting married. But I mean, I was just like, oh, look at it has all the trending topics and what months to do it. And, I thought that was really cool. And it is much further in advance than I had thought that it would be. So it was, I definitely recommend too looking at that. And, I can link it up in the show notes if you go to YouTubeMommyMeetup.com. And I also would like to be far in advance with my calendar, but I am not at all. I'm just like basically in the month. I'm in the month and that's it. Like in the beginning of the month, I'll say like the first of the month, and then I pretty much know what I'm doing until the end of the month. But I definitely right now have a lot of wiggle room in there to move things around. But those certain days, that I know I have certain, like it's definitely going to be set. That's what I'm doing. But I would like to be much further out, but I think this is the first year I'm doing it, that once I get the good baseline set, like I was saying before, I think next year it'll start to roll, a lot better. And then maybe I can be further in advance as far as my planning, because I have a prior year of planning under my belt kind of, so then I should be getting better at it. Obviously, also the more I do it, practice makes perfect with everything. What is that? 10,000 hours you need to become a expert at something. So I need 10,000 hours of editorial calendar planning in order to become an expert. But I think that answers Becca. What was the second? That answered Becca's question, I think, unless I missed the second part. But I really want to to talk about integrating, because that's one of the main things I like talking about here with you, Crystal, your blog with your YouTube. So on your editorial calendar, how do you integrate? Do you have a separate editorial calendar for YouTube and one for your blog? Or do you just have it together? And when you put up a YouTube video or when you put up a blog, because I know blog is your main thing. So if you put up a blog post, do you put up your video like in a couple days ahead of time, so you have your video ready to go with your blog post, and do you make those correspond, or do you just totally do them separate?
I do have them on the same editorial calendar. Like I have blog posts in one column. I have YouTube videos in another column. And in a perfect world, yes, I would like my videos. And I am moving in this direction as we are, moving into more of the homesteading niche and that kind of thing. I would like my videos to correspond a little bit better with my blog posts, because in the blogging world, and I kind of got ahead of this a little bit, and I don't know how, but I did. And where bloggers are starting to realize that video is very important. It's very wanted by people and brands and just an audience in general, because they not only want to read something, they also want to see how people do it. So I do like to have my videos up first prior to putting a blog post in, because again, I want all of that together, because I feel like a YouTube video is great to have by itself. YouTubers come, you have a different audience in your blogging as you do YouTube. But now that you have all these pretty photos and great tutorials and a nicely written blog post, now you also have another element of a video. So now your audience is having a visual treat on your blog as well to watch, and it might even bring them on to watching your YouTube channel too. You just never know. So I highly recommend doing first video and then your blog post.
I love that. A visual treat at the end of your blog. That's an excellent quote. I love that from you, Crystal, especially coming up on Halloween next week. Visual treat. Actually, I totally agree. And when I have my blog post, I always want to have a video at the bottom. And like I talked about in the last episode, the last BLOGMA episode, I'm converting all of my highest viewed videos on my YouTube channel into blog posts. So I already have an existing video in place, which is fantastic, because I don't have to, these are, videos that, might have been 3 months ago or 2 years ago or whatever, but I make sure they're still good quality, but they're my highest viewed videos, and I'm making a blog post to go along with them. So I have the blog post, and at the bottom, I can embed the video. So it's like that little treat at the bottom. And then, like you said, it hopefully will, what I do is usually I hope that they play it on my blog and, just leave it there playing on the blog, but it'll bring hopefully traffic to my YouTube channel. It definitely will bring views to that video, right? So I think it's great when they can correspond, and I in a perfect world, if we're dreaming again, then I would, for every single video, because I have much more videos than blog posts. I have about 760 videos, I think, at this point on my channel. Wow. And maybe I think I might have I don't know, I haven't counted the blog posts since I restarted my blog after my other one crashed. I might have 50 blog posts on my blog. So it's quite a difference there. So I'm trying to build it up, but I really would like to, have a blog post to go along with a lot of the videos, the ones, especially the ones that are, DIY, or, you're showing something like a recipe or a craft or decorating or organizing. There's so many opportunity there to have a blog post to go along with it. Because if you're a YouTuber and you're listening and you have a video and you're talking about something that's in a list form, like maybe in your video, there's you're listing out 5 ways you can organize, your kids' toys or something, or you're showing it in your video. You might find that by rewatching that video, you'll find that you can do a list form blog post. What's the official term for those? I don't know, Crystal, but you can do a blog post where you list it out. You can make a blog post out of that. The 5 ways to organize your kids' toys, and then you can put that visual treat, the video, embedded at the bottom of your blog post. But anyway, I'm getting away from myself. I was talking about whether or not they're on the same editorial calendar, and for me, it is, because I'm all over the place, like I talked about before. So it's incorporated into one. So I just have one calendar because, I only have so much time as well, since I do work full time outside the home. So I have to do that. Plus I'm doing this as my hobby, and on the weekend, it's really actually my obsession. Let's just be honest. So I do that, but I need it all to be on one calendar, because ain't nobody got time for 2 calendars. I can't imagine having to maintain one for the YouTube and one for the blog. And I'm hoping that it just should all I think it should all incorporate anyway. Whatever your blog is, I would hope that you'd have maybe a YouTube channel that goes along with that, and it's the same topic. I guess if your 2 are completely different, if you're blogging about something completely different than what's on your channel, then you might have 2 separate calendars. but I like to have it together. And but the videos always do have to come first, right, Crystal? I mean, because that way you can embed it. Otherwise, you're going. Do you know? Is there anything bad about that? Because I do go back sometimes to blog posts and I edit them to add in the video at the bottom. Does that hurt you? Do you know at all with SEO or anything? I mean, I usually so you could do the blog post and then later on go back in and add in the video, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't actually hurt anything. And when you're actually adding content to content, you're actually increasing your SEO because Google's actually seeing you refresh and you're bringing those old posts to life. So you're basically you're kind of jogging Google a little bit, like, hey, this was a good post and I've added some stuff to it, and it increases it. You're basically telling Google that you're trying to keep up with fresh content and keep people into your blog and that kind of thing. And that's what Google's always looking for. That's what they care about, is fresh content. So if you're refreshing your content with more added just girth to it and everything else, then you're actually improving your SEO. So it's not a bad idea to add any video you can.
Good. Like it. And then pin everything, right? I'm trying to do I don't know why I'm talking about Pinterest now. That probably is that's a separate episode, I guess, but I always make sure I pin it too. I'm like, gotta make sure every single blog post I put up that I pin it. And if I don't do it right away after I post it, I always forget. So I always pin it right away.
Pin all the things and repin all the things. Yes, we can totally do an episode on that.
Yes, that needs to be a total separate discussion. So, but I think we're up on our time though for episode 2, and I really enjoyed this, Crystal. I'm having fun doing this with you. So thank you so much for talking and sharing your secrets about blogs and with everybody. So it's much appreciated. Okay.
No, I definitely enjoy it. And I was going to say really quick, and I promise
Please do. Nope, go for it.
Not affiliated for this, I swear. But a lot of my my learning actually came from Blog Clarity, blogclarity.com. And this gal is just amazing. She really knows her stuff. It's Melissa. She actually has, I just got an update the other day, her Content Brew class. It runs about $79. The new session is starting in November. I get to retake it because I've already paid for it and done it before. But that's also a really good place to start too for editorial calendars. She talks a lot about how to gain content, inspire content. She gives you different ideas too for editorial calendars, how to set up your editorial calendar. So if you have a little bit of the extra money, it is a good investment. That's kind of where I started my information, and it just kind of trickled down from there. So blogclarity.com and the Content Brew class is definitely a good one to take. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's good to know. And that's not a lot of money. That's a pretty good price, I think, for that information. But where can everybody go to find you, Crystal?
Oh, you can find me in all sorts of places. Now, you can find me going crazy. Now, my blog at broughttoyoubymom.com is definitely a good place to start with finding me. And then also out on YouTube at broughttoyoubymom.tv. And then also out on all social channels, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. You will find me at brought, the number 2, the letter U, by mom.
Right, awesome. And you can find me, Dana Ryan, at danaryan.com. And you can go and find the show notes for this episode at youtubemommeetup.com. And I will link up the Blog Clarity link there, so you can go and check out that course, and then also the Ahology. And yeah, come and find us on Facebook in the Blogging Mommy Meetup Facebook group if you have any requests for what you would like Crystal and I to talk about. And we will see you there in the Facebook group for some more talk about blogs. And if not, we'll talk to you in about a month. Right, Crystal? For our next Blogging Mommy Meetup podcast. Yes. All right. Bye, guys.